Trisha. Do you know why you're here today?
I am the OG mukbanger, so it only makes sense to do a little mukbang.
That is exactly what you're doing today. Now let's get into real eats, deep conversations, and getting to know more about who Trisha Paytas is.
Oh my God, I love it. All right, let's get into it.
We're gonna ask some icebreaker questions.
Okay.
So can you describe who Trisha Paytas is in 3 words?
If I could describe myself in 3 words, I describe myself as kind, mother, and literally I have 2 kids, and hungry.
All right. So you've been working with fashionnova for years. When you're shopping in fashionnova, what's one part of the site you always check first?
Oh, the curve section. Curve new arrivals. Whether it's you're shopping for men, kids, standard size, plus size, always go to the new arrivals. They upload literally like every day. There's like new styles, so I'm always shopping on it.
Do you still identify as a chicken nugget?
I do still identify as a chicken nugget. It kind of depends. Sometimes I'm a little spicy nugget. And sometimes I'm just a traditional toe-shaped nugget. I honestly think there's so much deeper meaning than that. I think it's like a cute meme. And I was in a weird time in my life, but I think there is a deeper meaning because it's like everyone loves a chicken nugget. Yeah, sometimes they can be hard, tough, and not so good. But sometimes they're so delicious. And universally, everyone loves them. So yes, I'm a chicken nugget.
So as we notice, there's no sauce on the table. Trisha doesn't like sauce. So Trisha, what exactly about sauce makes you uncomfortable?
So I don't like sauce on chicken nuggets. I just don't like the texture. I don't like anything wet. I want to like taste the chicken nugget. You know, it has such good flavor on it. I want to taste it. Now sauce on spaghetti has been a new venture for me. My husband makes really good bolognese, so I've been obsessed with it. If you're an OG Trish follower, you'll know that I used to eat just like plain butter noodles. He's slowly getting me into the sauce realm because I feel like spaghetti just goes good with everything, right? And the sauce accentuates it. Maybe I'll get on the chicken nugget sauce craze, but I think someone has to introduce it to me, you know?
What got you into mukbangs?
I was an OG mukbanger for sure. I remember the first time I saw it. It was this website I went on, and I just remember everything was in Korean, and people were getting tipped live to just eat food. And they were eating for like 13 hours at a time. And I really wanted to make it a thing. And this was like 2012 before it was like a thing. And it was like they were eating like ginormous amounts of food. I'm like, this is my calling. This is what I was meant to do. So I just started with like a YouTube video first. I didn't know how to do the live thing. And it kind of took off from there. And I think my most popular one has like 10 million views. So I get to eat and get paid. Like, that's crazy. Like, this is my actual job.
All right, now that we got the icebreakers out of the way, let's get into it.
Okay.
So we're gonna start off with some internet culture questions.
Okay.
So Trisha, you've been in the YouTube and social media game since day one. Which era of social media was your all-time favorite and what made it so iconic for you?
Oh my gosh. I love all the eras of social media. Obviously, back in 2007 when I started was kind of iconic because I was young, I was 18. But honestly, my favorite is now at 36 because I really do feel like I was ahead of my time. And now this new generation is like thinking I'm cool. So I was like, oh yeah, the people in my generation didn't get it, the older generation didn't get it. But this new younger generation, they get it. Yeah, I love just like this new world of like body positivity and personality positivity, talking about mental health. It just like wasn't cool back in the day. And now it's like cool to talk about it and makes people feel open and free. And I just really love this era.
No, I totally agree with that. So you've had your fair share of viral moments, both for good and not so good reasons.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
How do you think the way people react to viral content has evolved?
Viral content is usually something being messy, right? Like it's usually like a person being messy, airing out relationships, like you talking about drama, you fumbling, you falling, someone getting embarrassed or hurt. That makes a viral moment, right? And in the moment it can feel like the worst. But if you give it enough time, like your most embarrassing moment or the like worst heartbreak makes you iconic overall. This is the generation of like viral moments where people normally would just make fun of someone for those moments. And like really embracing it. I see myself in that. So I think that's why you see this whole wave, like Harry Daniels, like people singing badly or whatever. And people like, that's totally me, they're a queen, I would do that too. And I think that's really cute. I mean, look at Jules, the demure takeover was so real. And like, I feel like viral moments make the right people famous rather than just like agents or Hollywood controlling it.
So cancel culture has become a beast online. How do you feel about the way it's shaped influencers and the communities that follow them?
Look, I'm all about cancel culture for the most part. There's some things that are just so silly. Like I was canceled for like a chicken nugget thing, right? But then there's some things I was like rightfully canceled for. And I feel like for those, it's like how we grow, right? Like I honestly didn't know some of the stuff I was saying was like offensive or weird or like harmful or like not the way to think until like the internet called me out. I think that's the beauty of it. So I'm all for cancel culture when it's like legit. But I think overall I'm for it. I think there's a lot of dumb people in the world that just need to be called out. And sometimes they learn from it, sometimes they don't. So I'm for it. It's really just holding people accountable when the courts won't do it, right?
I mean, we love growth, so
We
that's
love
always
growth.
opportunity for growth.
Everyone loves growth until people change and then like, oh, nope, you're still that person, so let people grow.
With all the crazy highs and lows of social media fame, how do you keep your mental health in check and stay grounded in such a chaotic space?
I stay grounded by lots of therapy. I really honestly do. I mean, I really owe a lot to that. It's definitely something that should be more affordable for everyone because I do think it's like such a great thing to talk to someone who has like no bias. So therapy, my husband, my kids, so I don't embarrass them. But also my age, 36. I mean, I give grace to everyone in their 20s because we all say really dumb things. You have to go through a lot of embarrassment.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been super open about your personal life online. Do you think influencers today are blurring the line between public and private more, or are people setting clearer boundaries now?
I think people were just doing anything to be famous online. So there were no boundaries. And I think now people are realizing with like spiraling and all this stuff that boundaries are necessary and important. And I feel like I'm proof of one thing is like you can set boundaries and still be iconic. Cause I mean, I feel like I'm the most stable, grounded as I've ever been and I'm like thriving the most. And yes, people love me when I was messy and crying and like being hysterical, but I really do feel like setting boundaries is like super healthy. But people don't like to see it nowadays. I feel like when you see like Chapel Roan or Cynthia Reaver, all these like mostly females being like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. Everyone's like, oh my God, how dare they? They're so ungrateful. It's like, no, they're like setting a boundary so they can keep entertaining you. Period.
Is there anything you do to set clear boundaries?
I'm gonna have a hard time setting boundaries because, well, I have borderline personality disorder. But aside from that, I think in general I have a hard time because I don't like to say no and I don't want people to think I'm ungrateful. Just do it. People will like you or they won't. And at least you'll have a boundary set so you protect yourself. Yeah.
That's the perfect attitude to have.
Okay.
So you've been in some pretty epic online feuds. Looking back, how do you think those conflicts shaped your public persona and how people see you today?
I have been in a lot of feuds. And it's really because I was just a very, very messy girl back in the day. I had the time. I was bored, had no friends, never was in a relationship, had nothing to lose. It was just me on my couch eating. So I really had the time. And I feel like anyone who talked about me, I had to defend myself because I was like so looked at for so long, like as a kid and a teenager. I was like weak and couldn't like fight back. It worked for a minute, but no one like wanted to be around me because I was like completely unhinged. But I do think it shows that the growth of it all, right? Like you don't have to feud with everybody. Like let people believe what they want to believe about you, you know? At the end of the day, protect your peace. But hey, if you have a public beef, sometimes people are deserving of a clap back. Like call them out, you know what I mean? Be prepared for like the mental toll it takes. So just remember, like, is it worth it? I regret some feuds, and some feuds I'm like, they deserved it.
You know, internet drama can blow up fast, especially when social media is stirring the pot. Have there been moments where you wish you hadn't jumped into a public argument?
I feel like hindsight's always 20/20, right? Each time it did take a toll on me mentally. I always had anxiety. What if this person comes and bites me? What if I get sued? I mean, I didn't have anything at the time, so I guess they could have sued me for what. But yeah, I think there's plenty of times where I think I could have just kept my mouth shut, took a nap. Sometimes when I take a nap and wake up, I'm like, oh, I didn't need to do all that. So give it a minute, take a breath, take a nap. And if you still feel like coming after someone, like, okay, do it. Listen to your heart. But also think about like in the future, like, you know, what your life's gonna be like. So I think any feud, I wish I could have taken back just because one day my kids are gonna have to see that. And it's just not cute. I wasn't a cute person to be in a beef with, period.
We love an unfazed queen. Do you
Sometimes.
think being in the public eye makes it harder to keep friendships in the real world? I know you kind of touched on this, but if you want to elaborate on that.
Yes. Yeah, definitely if you're beefing with anyone publicly or exposing people, people are gonna be scared to be your friend. And rightfully so. I think there's a ton of people that are like, ooh, Trisha will just talk about everything. And they're probably right, but it's not really because I'm a public persona. It's honestly because I just want to share everybody's secrets. So if you're like, hey, I have a secret, don't share this with anybody, don't tell me. Because I just love to yap, and I think that's okay. But be prepared if you do exposed videos that people might be a little wary of you. Not to say it's wrong, just, you know, be prepared of that.
Trisha, now that you're a mom, do you ever worry about how your kids will navigate social media when they have their own profiles?
Oh my God, I worry about it so much. I just hope it changes so much. I'm just praying. You know how like our parents don't have social media? I just hope it's something like intergalactic happening by then and that it doesn't even exist. Like they'll know their mother was an icon, but they won't be able to like, it's like VHS. Like where do you find a VHS player? You know what I mean? Or an 8-track. Like how do you play an 8-track these days? That's what I'm hoping for these videos where there's just something like AI in their eyes where they just see stuff and don't even know what a computer is. So it scares me. It worries me. But I kind of thrive, so I think my daughters will too. And I feel like that is the perk of having kids, is making this generation stronger, better, and just more adapt. So fingers crossed, that's the truth.
So motherhood is such a big part of you now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance career and motherhood?
Balancing career and motherhood is tough. I do have a Moses, who's my husband. People like to come from him and be like, oh my God, he's the nanny, he's the assistant. No, he's a father who like steps up because I'm a working mom. You know, I work, and I love what I do. It's like so much fun. But I also like make sure I give myself those days where before when I was like single and didn't have kids, I just worked all the time. And now just having those days with the kids is really important. But it does take a village. So any help you can get, take, ask for it because, you know, being a mother's great, but you also have to have an identity outside of that. And for me, my work is part of my identity too. And sometimes Malibu gets in on it. She loves a good chicken nugget, you know what I mean? Sometimes she likes to get in on the action. She'll sit on my lap. She's like, oh, mommy cheese. And then she has mommy work. And she likes say all those kind of things. And she always wants to be on camera. But kind of like one day when you're of age, you can be on camera eating.
So speaking of work, you have a huge online presence.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't think content creation is a real job. What is your creative process when it comes to all your different endeavors?
I think this is whatever inspires me, whatever I love. I love food. I love fashion. I love fashionnova. Cool because like social media like wasn't around when I was like a young kid like dreaming of stuff. I was like, I just want to be like famous or something. But there's so many outlets now to be creative. Every new social media platform comes something exciting and inspiring. Like when TikTok came around, all of a sudden I was like lip syncing and acting and everyone's doing this fun thing that I've been doing for so long. So just kind of do what makes you happy and you can be starting a whole new trend.
So we love a creative queen. Do your kids know that you're famous?
They definitely know something's weird when people come up to me all the time. They definitely know that I'm something and they'll ask, picture with daddy, picture with daddy. They always wonder why there's no picture with daddy. He's like, well, I'm not famous. I'm like, okay, I'm not famous either. So one day they're gonna grow up and be like, my mom's famous. I'm like, no, don't say that because everyone says it. But I love it, but it's weird with my kids. So I'm like, oh no. Like, they're gonna think it's normal. They're gonna be like questioning why people don't want pictures with them. Although people do want pictures with them, which is also something to worry about. So it's just, it's a lot.
That's so cute. One day they'll know what iconic queen you are. One day.
I hope.
All right.
I hope they're not embarrassed.
So now we're moving on to some pop culture questions. So we know you have a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had lots of guests, so we're gonna ask some questions about that.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So some of your podcast interviews have gotten super deep. Has a guest ever shared something with you that has completely shifted your perspective?
Oh my gosh. So I feel like with each person, it's like such a shift in energy. Everyone tells a story, and it's like a story maybe have heard like 1,000 times, but hearing it from a different perspective like really does shape you as like a different person. Like sharing people's energy so intimately. I think every interview has had some sort of tears. Sometimes it airs, sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know, I've really gotten to love each one of my guests, even if I knew nothing about them beforehand. I feel like everyone's story is important. I feel like everyone's story is like worthy of telling. And I mean, I think that's the beauty of social media, you know, the impact it can have on like influencing people, making people feel like they're not alone. And I think my guests have really shown that. And I like just absolutely love them for that.
Which guest totally caught you off guard with how raw and open they were?
I think one of my most open guests was 18 Mom. She was on the show 16 and Pregnant. Her name was Kale Lowry. She just came on the podcast and she was talking about how she got pregnant at 16, but she was still able to go to college, and very open about the number of people she's had babies with and how it's like, you know, maybe not everyone's like first choice, maybe not hers, but how she makes it work. And I think she's really open about like just not knowing and just, I don't know, just being vulnerable. And she was really surprising. I've had Tana on, who's very, you know, known as to be like a party wild girl, but she had like really like deep, you know, stories that she shares. Holly Madison is one that totally surprised me because I watched her on Girls Next Door and I idolized her from like the Playboy Mansion, but she also has a lot of depth to her. And I think that's why I love my podcast, is like finding all this out about these girls who have gone through so much. I mean, there's so many stories of people who were mistreated as children and by partners as they got older, and we all found social media somehow. It's really crazy, but it's very cool, and I think it's inspiring that people aren't scared to talk about it.
I love that. It sounds like you provide like a safe space for them, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool people feel that way. I never like thought of it that way, but I am glad people feel safe, and I'm happy to always provide a safe space because I'm the last person to judge anybody. And I really do think like it helps people when you can just be like so real. At the end of the day, if you're like real and you share your truth, it actually doesn't look bad. People can like have empathy for you in like a lot of ways, you know what I mean? Look at like the Menendez brothers, right? Like there's so many people who have like empathy for them, and like where before I would consider them like monsters, like how could they do it? So I think being real and owning your truth is a big thing.
So speaking of opening up, who spilled the most tea during your podcast, and can you give us an insider scoop at the juicy details?
Definitely Tana spills the most tea. She doesn't come with PR manager. She has it, but she never comes with them. Usually people come with a PR person manager, or they like spill tea for you. but then they have to like cut it. And I'm like, oh man, that's so good. But Tana will say names and everything. I mean, she built her career off of it, and that's why I love her so much. And she is our favorite guest, our best guest.
Who's your ultimate dream guest that hasn't been on the show yet? And what burning question would you throw at them if you got to sit down with them?
I mean, dream guest where it's like, never would happen. Britney Spears. I love Britney Spears. I would just want to know how she's doing. Like, how are you actually doing? How's life? And she like looks like she's thriving to me. I just have so many questions. How does she stay iconic just from her living room? Like, it's just like, she's like my dream.
So speaking of dream guests and celebrities, out of all the celebrities you've had on your podcast, who gave you the most cringeworthy, awkward moment during your podcast where you felt like you just wanted to leave your own studio?
I say this with so much love, but I think he knows, Jeff Wittick. He's a straight man in our studio, and I think our studio just knows the vibes, and they're like, the vibes are off, but we love him. He's great, but for some reason, every time we do an interview, he just says wild things that I'm always a little shocked by. The energy's a little off, but I don't blame him. I think it's just because, he's straight.
What about that encounter, if you don't mind elaborating a little bit, made it awkward?
I don't think there's like one thing that made it awkward. I think me and Jeff just have a very awkward history. I mean, he avoided me at a Starbucks in 2019. I think we just have a very awkward connection. And I think that can be great for entertainment purposes, which is why we keep coming back together. But, we have a little bit of a trauma bond too. So I think all of it together, the chemistry is not there. Our bodies are just rejecting each other because it's just like there's something off about the situation. But I love him. I really do. We're just awkward, and I'm not sure why, but that's just how the cookie crumbles.
So do you have any moments from the Just Trish podcast where you wish you could take back what you said, or maybe let something slip that you regret?
I definitely wish we didn't talk about science as much on the podcast, because I think that's the one thing that people are like, okay, Trish, really? I know we talk about the moon landing being fake and needing gravity and all that stuff like that. And honestly, I just feel like we'll leave that to the scientists. I always say we don't need science, but hey, they're scientists for a reason, and that's definitely not us. So maybe I regret talking about that stuff, but everything else I pretty stand by. Pretty good these days with having my choice of words be legit,
Trisha, if you could bring back one iconic fashion trend from your early YouTube days and make it the hottest thing again, what would it be and why?
I used to wear my tank tops backwards because I thought it was going to be a Regina George moment where I'm everyone's going to start wearing their tank tops backwards. I thought it was really sexy. I thought it was really cool and innovative. I also loved those layered tees. I thought those were so good with the big bubble earrings or low-rise jeans. And this is coming from someone who has a big old gut. I love a low-rise jeans. They're hard to find, but I wish those would also make them back.
With all the fierce transformation, was there ever a moment or look where you thought, this is 100% the real me?
I think the transformation that comes to mind when I think this is 100% the real me, which kind of got me in trouble, but I still stand by it to this day, is my Troy Bolden, my Zac Efron High School Musical 2 cosplay. I really felt like that was my calling. I wore that wig probably 3 days after. We went to Vegas, we went to Utah, we went everywhere in that wig. I felt powerful, I felt like it was me. People thought I was crazy at the time, but I think now they understand me. And to this day, crawling in Zac Efron's skin is my favorite because I really do feel like my truest self.
So Trisha, you're the queen of a good cosplay moment. Do you feel certain looks were your way of channeling different eras of your life?
Oh yeah, I think cosplaying different looks and channeling different characters, I really do categorize my life based on my cosplays. I just remember going through Game of Thrones and being so obsessed with this guy who just came on my couch and smoked all day and ate a bunch of food I never did. But I was so in love with him, and he loved dragons, so all of a sudden I love dragons. I just remember that. I remember being depressed, and there's just certain eras that you're just oh yeah, I remember that era. There was a time that I was dating one of Cher's backup dancers, and I remember our whole life was matching in sequence, and we looked like we were in a Vegas show everywhere we went. It also, I guess, correlates a lot with guys. And if there's one consistent cosplay that has been my entire life, it's Britney Spears. From 12 years old, I have a Oops, I Did It Again red jumpsuit, to my latest one in our house. I love Britney. So
Trisha, now that you're a mom, are you leaning into more practical vibes, or are bold, show-stopping outfits still your go-to?
Now that I'm a mom, I'm both. I'd like to be practical in my day-to-day because, there's always spit up, there's always something happening. But I still like to be flashy and outlandish because I think that's truly what I love to do for myself. I hope one day that my kids will see me and just be oh my gosh, our mom was so cool. She just wore whatever she wanted. Whether they want to be, in a basic jeans and t-shirt or sequins and costumes, I want them to feel like their true authentic self, and hopefully that can be the example for it.
As far as mom-friendly fashion finds, What is your one comfy piece you never thought you'd wear, but now can't live without?
My one piece that I can't live without are black leggings in the winter or black biker shorts in the summer. I always saw people wearing those and I was like, oh my God, that's so basic, just a t-shirt and black leggings, but it goes with everything. You can dress up, dress down, wear with sandals, wear with boots. I love it so much. And I know we're here at fashionnova, but honestly, they do have the best biker short and legging selection because you can get so many of them for like $5 to $8. It's like actually the best thing ever. And it's easy, it's stretchy, and it goes with everything.
All right, enough about mom-friendly outfits.
Yes.
Let's peel back the layers. Lingerie talk.
Oh.
Confidence is key in the bedroom, but what's one sexy piece or accessory you can't just do without?
I just cannot live without a corset. I love it. I think it cinches you really great. It makes you feel sexy. You got it all together, so nothing's like jiggling. But then when the corset comes off and you are jiggling, it's extra fun because then there's just a lot of cushion pushing everywhere. I love a corset. I think it's sexy under clothes. I think it's sexy by itself. I think you can dress it up, dress it down. I love when people wear it over tank tops. I love Britney Spears once again. I just think corsets are so versatile and so needed and has saved me through postpartum. Like I just have a waist again, and it's one of the reasons why I love being a woman. Or men can wear them too, I guess, but just corsets are the reason I love being born in this era. I guess corsets are like 1800s, so I guess any era they had them.
So Trisha, the fashion industry is starting to rep plus size bodies more, but it's still surface level. How do you think we can push beyond tokenism to truly embrace all bodies?
I think the best way to truly embrace all bodies is to embrace all bodies. I think we like praise, one body type and then people get over it and then they start shaming that body type and then that becomes cool. I just think like praise all body types and give credit where it's due. I don't think there should be a thing where it's like, oh my God, this person's so brave, or just like the body they're in, just accept it and love it. I think asking people out their bodies is rude. I think commenting on people's bodies are rude. I think it's just like art. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to poke it. You don't have to ask the price. Just appreciate it. Just stand there and appreciate it. And I think that's what's really great. And I love it. I love the new movement of it. I hope we stay in the movement of body positivity for all bodies and all different types, because plus size also isn't just one size. Like there's curvy, there's flat tummies, big butts, little shoulders. Like there's so many different body types, and I think we should just all embrace it. Also just be more size inclusive. I save a lot of money by like designer brands not including us, but I think a lot of us are more than a size 0. Yeah.
Fashion is all about unapologetic self-expression, and you've never held back. What's one daring look or style you wish more plus size women would own, even if it breaks every rule in the book?
The tiniest pizza. I think I would love to see some plus size women in crop tops. I love crop tops. I love bellies. I remember in Pulp Fiction, there was a whole thing about how pot bellies are sexy. And I always like loved that so much because I always had a pot belly even at like 10 years old. And I wish we would like show the bellies more. I'm showing my belly every chance I get. Every chance I get. I love it. I just love a navel. I love a waist. I love it all. So I wish more people would embrace it, There was a recent fashion show where they included plus size people, but they covered their bellies. And I was like, I want to see it. The thighs are beautiful, all that's beautiful, but I want to see belly if you're comfortable.
If you could drop a truth bomb on your younger self about body confidence, what would you tell her?
No one cares about your body as much as you do. Like, you are overthinking it. No one's looking at your body and thinking anything. And if they are, they're a bigger freak than you are. Stop looking at yourself. Stop overanalyzing yourself. Like, your body is like your body for a reason. And what's so cool about a body, it's so unique to every single person because no one has the exact same body. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. You're like 1 in a billion or however many people are in this world. Like, it's very cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you've been real about the ups and downs of your body image journey. How do you keep your self-love rock solid when society or social media tries to tear it down?
I mean, I hear I'm fat like literally every day. I've heard I was fat every day of my life since I was like 6 years old. Like, you just hear it so much. At some point you do become numb. But on the other hand, I'm like, I don't think people would be this worried if they weren't like threatened in some way, if they weren't jealous in some way. Oh my gosh, Trisha, you get to eat pasta. Like, oh my gosh, Trisha, you love your body and you're not skinny. Like, how? I hate my body. It's like, it's kind of like everything, right? If like, you have to be worried when people like stop talking about you. So I guess it's like a compliment. Like, I'm just this like masterpiece and people just can't like wrap their head around it. I really think of it that way. I think I'm just like different and people can't fathom like how people think I'm beautiful, how I think I'm beautiful. I've embraced it. I was like, you know what, I'm happy. I've tried to diet and it's like, I'm not happy anymore. I'm even scared to do all those like weight loss medicines because I love eating. It actually makes me happy. I get to eat with my family. I get to eat for fun. Like I get to eat for work. I do it in moderation. I know today is like a fun day, but I don't eat like this every day. It's all about balance, yeah.
Being plus size in the public eye comes with its own misconceptions. What do you think people get wrong about confidence and body image?
The number one thing people get wrong about body image is that, one, all fat people aren't healthy. I've had 2 healthy pregnancies and I passed all my tests with flying colors, and I'm plus size and I always was plus size. I was 226 before I got pregnant. I was 260 at the birth of my second daughter. And I gave birth, I carried a baby, I created life. I also think that people think, oh, because you're big, you're like confident. And yeah, I guess you have to have a little more confidence, but that's my biggest pet peeve is when people like see you're big and like, oh my God, you're so confident for wearing a bikini. And it's like, yeah, I look good. I don't know, do you not think you look good or something? I don't know. Big people are healthy and sexy and not always confident. They're just, that's the body they're in. They're just showing it off, so I don't know.
And I love what you said earlier about it being more having to do with them.
Yeah,
because
always.
It's always a reflection of them and not you.
That's actually so true. I never look at anyone's body as like, ew, they're disgusting. Like, that's so weird.
What's one thing you're most proud of in your life, both personally and professionally?
The thing I'm most personally proud of is my 2 children. I think I've created like little baby angels on earth. I think they're like literally perfect humans. And I'm gonna do my best to protect them and keep them that way. So personally, that's a given. Professionally, I think I'm most proudest probably my podcast, Just Trish, right now. Like, it's actually doing well and people really like it, and I'm getting sponsors and brand deals. It's me just being me and not being unhealthy or unstable or problematic, and it's like really refreshing that like people are like cheering for me to be good and be better. And it was created at a time out of nothing. Like, it's just like in our basement, and I love that it's spreading positivity and also entertaining people without being too mean.
So speaking of Just Trish podcast, such a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
On your podcast recently, you've mentioned that you've been thinking about rebranding your YouTube channel and deleting your old videos. What's making you consider such a big change? And is it hard to imagine letting go of that part of your online history?
I have been considering deleting all my old videos. Y'all, I've been on YouTube for 17 years and counting. I've been on YouTube a long time. I am not the same person. I cringe, I'm embarrassed. I'm trying to erase it early. But there is a petition out right now to keep it. And so many people are like, it's my comfort. So part of me is like, Trish, like you always say, you put yourself out there for the good, bad, better, for the better of people. And if people are feeling comforted by those videos, I might keep them up. We'll see. I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, it's like my decision. Maybe I'll delete half. I've deleted a lot already. I've already deleted thousands of videos and no one's noticed. So watch them now before they're gone.
I mean, it'll always be a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
So with this rebrand, what could the viewers expect to be different from your content before?
So my rebrand is really just like about production. I've always wanted like to be on a TV show or a movie, but nobody will cast me or hire me. So I was like, why don't I just do it? So my channel is gonna be TV shows, and it has like high production quality, and it's everything I've ever wanted and more. I'm just really excited about it because it's something I want to do and it's something different, and I have 5 million subscribers on that channel and I want them to keep watching. So it's time to rebrand and give another Trish 2.0. We saw the mommy Trish, and now we're gonna get to TV mogul Trish, starring in her own TV show on her own channel, because that's the beauty of YouTube.
I know you've accomplished so much at such a young age, but we all have our dreams and aspirations. Is there one thing you still hope to accomplish in your career?
I want to go to Broadway. I want to be on Broadway. That's like the one thing. I just, I think that's the ultimate manifestation. Someone who is, not classically trained at dancing or singing, but just really loves it. I'm really hoping to be on Broadway. That's my goal. So maybe 2025. All right, you guys, this is all I can eat today with 1 meatball left over. I think I did pretty good. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I've had so much fun here at fashionnova. They really get it. Love you so much, and keep coming back for more good content and good fashion and good food. Love you.